warm welcome. You've tuned into the interview on ET Now, and today we have a very special guest, Rondolat, CEO of Philips Lighting, here to talk to us about the sector and the opportunity that the Indian market really provides for his company. Eric, thank you so much for speaking to us here at ET Now. And my first question to you, you're literally talking about the opportunity of lighting up 1 billion homes. How are you looking to leverage this?
Well, first, many thanks for having me on the show. It's always extremely exciting to come to this country and feel the energy and the huge opportunity that we have here. So indeed, there's a lot to do on the Indian market, moving also to the new era of lighting, with digital lighting. And this country has been extremely progressive with the Prakashpat initiative that is effectively running extremely fast.
All right, before coming to the Prakashpat initiative, let me also talk to you about a key highlight of your Indian visit, which is the meeting with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Talk to us about what exactly was discussed and what's the outlook and takeaway from that meeting?
Well, we were extremely honored, to tell you the truth, to have the opportunity to spend a few minutes with the Prime Minister. And it was all about the fact that light is more than illumination. That lighting is more than illumination, it's more than energy efficiency. And we talked about many different subjects. So we talked about the landmarks, architectural lighting of very specific monuments. We talked a little bit about the Indian gates and also the Gateway of India that we have recently brought the light to, and a very, very nice setup. Now we can have the flag of India displayed on the Indian gate at a very interesting with a very interesting results, because at the end of the day, we are saving 60% of the energy versus the previous solution of lighting for the Gateway of India. We talked about many other subjects like Make in India, solar LED lighting, so a few subjects that we can come back to later.
Absolutely. In fact, you did mention Make in India, so I'm going to ask you about what exactly is Philips' strategy as far as that initiative is concerned, and where is it currently as far as manufacturing in India? Do you manufacture here, and how are you looking to actually leverage and optimize this going ahead?
We are in India an Indian company. We've been in the country for 85 years. And we've been investing on many different fronts, and of course we've been investing on the industrial side. We have 2 big factories in India. 90% of what we sell in India is produced in India, but those factories also export in 24 other countries. So at this point in time, we are employing 4,000 people in India, and if you take into account also all the other suppliers that work for us on the Indian market, it goes up to 8,500 people. So yes, we are manufacturing in India, and we will continue manufacturing in India. We've already integrated in our existing factory our newest LED production capabilities. But it's also extremely important for us, as an Indian producer in that country, that there are standards. And that's also one point that we discussed with the Prime Minister, BIS standard that would ensure that the products that are sold on the market are at the right level in terms of safety and in terms of performance.
Fair enough. You are talking about the plants, manufacturing facilities currently at Vadodara and at Mohali. Are there any expansion plans as far as these particular plants are concerned? And also, are you looking at any new or additional manufacturing facilities? Because you are suddenly talking about a very aware government that is driving the push towards cleaner, more efficient energy, and that's where Philips plays a direct role.
Absolutely, and we've been playing that role for many, many years. It's always very complicated to say, are you expanding? Well, those factories evolve on a daily basis. So we have recently in those 2 factories implemented new production lines, in accordance with the market evolution. We have to say also that it's not only manufacturing, it's also designing.
Fair enough. Because
we have 2 major R&D centers here in India, one in Bangalore, one in Noida, where we develop solutions for India. So it's India for India, and then it's India for global, because those solutions are then exported in other countries.
India for India, how important do you think this will be in the next leg of growth for Philips here, simply because it's not just the Prime Minister but also the Power Minister who's very, very committed to reforming the sector and also ensuring that local manufacturing takes a big, big boost.
Well, first of all, when we think about manufacturing, we think for the country where the plant is based, but also in terms of exportation. So we must have an environment which is conducive to competitiveness. And we think it's the case of India. So yes, we are manufacturing and we are designing, which is for me even more important, according to the requirement of this country. And you know, it's a harsh environment. Only, you know, when you look at the voltage drops on the electrical network, so it needs to have very adapted products in order to fulfill those requirements. So we have been, just to give you a hint, designing more than 200 LED products in the recent month in India. We are on the market today pushing the Prakash Pat, you know, LED lamp, which has been designed and which is manufactured in India. And we have a very interesting novelty at this point in time, which is a fabulous LED lamp, which can alternatively turn into warm color or cool color temperatures. So within the same bulb, it changes. So you have that white, bright light, or you can have also that warm yellow light within the same bulb. And that is designed here in India by our local teams.
That sounds pretty fascinating. But before moving to the government and the regulatory environment really and the hurdles in the Indian market, let me talk to you about the consumer sentiment here. We are looking at lighting up 1 billion homes, but at the same time, affordable electricity and electricity components is the need of the hour, because we are talking about a market that is not similar all across the board. Too much of diversity, affordability becomes a big question mark. How do you work with that in the Indian environment, which may not really be the case in most of your other markets?
You know, that sentiment or that need is across the board. And it is something that we have in our mind on a daily basis. Now, light brings more than illumination. And that's also the case in homes. So, of course, we are working on reducing our costs on a daily basis to make sure that our offers are affordable. And as a leading company worldwide, as a leading company in India, we think it is our duty to bring affordable light to people. But we are also working on light bringing other benefits. For instance, you know, we have developed a quality of light that help the children, for instance, to learn better, to have a light which is tiring their eyes less. So we've worked on that and we've proved that it can happen. You know, you have different types of lights which are changing the environment at home, making sure that you have the right light at the right moment to make you more comfortable, to energize you more. So we are pushing on the market at this point in time, and it's being introduced as we speak. I think it's at the beginning of September. What the Hue light, which is basically 3 lights in the starting kit that are fully connected, wireless, and those lights can take millions of colors. And you can put scenes, you can decide to take a picture and then move the color of the light on the colors on your picture. So there's so many things that we can do. And we can have a fully automated lighting system at home.
Fair enough. But do you think that the Indian market is slowly gearing up to the whole concept of LED, digital and smart lighting? Or are we, you know, a couple of years away from wholeheartedly adopting the same?
I think if you had asked me the question 6 months ago, I would have told you that India was probably had not started at the same pace as others. But now, you know, with the fantastic initiative that have been pushed, and I've talked already about Prakash Pad a few times, both in cities but also in homes, I mean, India is now joining the band extremely quickly. When it comes to technology, I think India is a country in which technology is there. People understand technology, people create technology. You know, it's also the reason why we have also decided to base some of our global R&D centers here.
Eric, how important then is quality standards? Because we are looking at a market that's very price sensitive. Cheaper products are always going to enter the market. That's always going to be a cause of concern, because the Indian mentality on the whole is that initial big investment is something that they're very wary of. I can put in money over the next couple of years, in a little smaller installment, I'm happier. But when it's that big ticket initial investment, I think twice whether it's my corporate or my personal budget. So how do you look at tackling that, given the fact that there's constantly going to be an influx of cheaper products in the market as well?
So on our side, we have a very definite strategy, which is also part of our values, that no compromise on quality. And our brand, the Philips brand, is also recognized when you ask our customers for quality. Every market is being built, and when there are big transitions, like the one that we're living at this point in time, because you can imagine that the conventional part of lighting that we've been enjoying for so many years is now moving completely to digital light. And we can imagine that in 10 years from now, 80% of the market will be digital light. We need to have standards to be put in place. Will they totally eradicate the influx? Probably not, but they will limit them to an absolute extreme. And so we're working around that. I think the government is working around that. There is something which is happening at this point in time. I think we call that the CRO in this country. So this needs to be implemented. I think it's going to be implemented in the coming weeks. And that's going to be extremely beneficial for the industry at large, but most important, for the customers, for the users, for the people that are going to benefit from the quality of light brought by these products.
Fair enough. We are talking about Philips India currently enjoying a 30% odd market share as far as the Indian market is concerned. But now you're talking about much more awareness, a much more conscious drive to switching to cleaner energy, more energy efficient means. This second leg of growth, where exactly are your targets as far as the Indian market is concerned? And will you also be looking at investing further into India? If I may ask you, what role does India play for you as a market amidst all your global peers as well?
So India is clearly at this point in time in the top 5 of our market. So it has a strategic importance, as you can imagine, but also for all the other reasons that I've mentioned previously. At this point in time, we're really looking at India as a fantastic opportunity, not only because we can develop the business locally, but also because we can be inspired by the solution that we need for the Indian market. These solutions may be also totally reusable in other markets, and we have proof points of this. I was talking to you about this fabulous lamp, which is mixing 2 colors temperature within the same bulb. This is something that could be extremely attractive in some other market, and it was developed here.
Oh, fantastic. Now, if I were to ask you about the top challenges in the Indian market, if you had to name 3, what would they be?
One global challenge that we have, but which is also true in the Indian market, is speed. There's a fantastic evolution towards clean energy, as you were naming it. Just to give you a hint, with LED technology, together with controls, we can save up to 80% of the energy cost versus a traditional and conventional lighting. So there's an urgency to move as quickly as we can towards these new levels of performance in terms of energy efficiency. Solar lighting is probably, according to me, the second challenge. We are extremely sensitive as a company, because it's also part of our values when we talk about sustainability, about the fact that many people on our planet, and it's between 1.3 or 1.6 billion, do not have access to electricity. They don't have access to electrical lighting. So basically they would use kerosene, they would use wood fires, or eventually candles to light themselves. And it's quite detrimental to health. So bringing solar LED lighting to these people, and we think that probably around 400 million, in remote villages in India, is also part of the second challenge that we want to tackle. Thirdly, education. You've talked a lot about LED lighting because probably you've researched a little bit, that sector. But nevertheless, when you say to people, you can make these amounts of energy saving, while at the same time your light can be connected. Light could not really be connected in the conventional era. As light turns out digital, we're talking about binary digits. So at the end of the day, every light point can be connected, whether it is at your home, whether it is in street, in all the street lights pole, the solar street light poles can be also connected. So that's a fabulous challenge, because once it is connected, you can be present and service on the full life cycle. So our challenge is not only to sell a lamp and go, it's to sell a lamp, to connect it in the form of a system, and then stay connected to it on the full life cycle to deliver to our customers an even greater promise.
You're talking about the government that's now very aware, but how much are they enabling companies like yourself in providing that apt business environment? Because still regulation is something that facilitates business. It's not really going to see that next level of growth.
I would not put it as a precondition. I think these are two things that are moving in parallel.
All right.
So first of all, we're talking about Prakash patent, that fantastic push towards electrifying or lighting the country with new digital lights.
Sure.
Is a fantastic push. And I tell you the truth, this is something I have never seen in any country with such an energy and such a speed. So that's happening, and I think it is positive, because the concept behind that is also to save energy and to make sure that we are contributing to one of the main challenges that our planet is facing. So all that is great. On the other hand, and I would say it goes in parallel, there is this absolute necessity to make sure that we don't have substandard products flowing on the market, to make sure that we don't have products that are dangerous and products that are according to the highest level of safety requirements. So those two things are going in parallel, and of course, we are involved in both.
And when you talk about the kind of energy efficient drive that India is taking now, where exactly do you see the opportunity for Philips as a company? And do you think that there is a lot we can do in terms of achieving that goal, really? Because India is still developing, and when you talk about efficiency, it's, I think, very, very minute share that still is energy efficient. There's a lot that still needs to be done.
There's a lot that needs to be done in the world in general. So this is what positions lighting at this point in time as a very interesting and attractive opportunity. To tell you the truth, it's not because I'm representing a lighting company, but there's no other industry in the world at this point in time that can generate on a systematic basis with a relatively low level of investment and as fast as we can energy efficiency. You change today, very simply, a conventional incandescent bulb with an LED bulb, and you get a better light, and you save 80% of the energy cost. It is as simple as that. So that opportunity stands, and it's all over the world, and it's also the case in India.
Eric, did you have a conversation with not just the Prime Minister, but also the Power Minister when it comes to electricity and energy infrastructure? Because that is a big problem here in the country. A lot of households don't even get electricity. That's one of the key targets. It's 24/7 power to all. When they do not get electricity, then it becomes very difficult for companies like yourself to leverage that switch to an LED or to energy efficient means. So in that sense, will there be more focus on solar lighting and more renewable energy that way? And in energy infrastructure, is there word coming in from the government to improve the situation on the ground?
Well, what you need to understand is that energy efficiency improves the power equation. And that's valid in any country, that's again valid in India. Let me picture it. When you save energy, you free up energy to grow. So at the end of the day, saving energy is a prerequisite in an environment like the Indian environment, because this is a country which is growing, so which needs more power on a daily basis. And by saving energy, we free up capacities to grow further without having to invest in very expensive and with a very long return on investment generation plants, for instance. So that equation has to be understood. So for us, saving energy is a contribution to the planet and also allowing the country to grow further.
Fair enough. Eric, there's another initiative of smart cities in India. Very recently, we did hear that 98 such destinations across the country have already been shortlisted. The government is pushing all kinds of initiative and reform measures there, one of which will be extensive solar lighting and focusing on a cleaner form of energy, where they're going to ensure that there will be no, issues like coal or kerosene or even wood-fired, electricity and lighting options. How much of an opportunity is the smart city initiative that India is driving?
It's a very important initiative. It plays at two levels. So the first one is the one that you have described, which is basically solar LED lighting. It's extremely interesting because technically the solution is proven. You need a solar panel, you need a battery, and you need energy efficient light. But the quality is extremely important because it needs to work. And we've seen also many different situations where the quality is not at the right level and the implementation doesn't last. So we are extremely strict and rigorous when it comes to quality, and this is a big opportunity that we see. But we would need also to provide probably geo-positioning and connectivity to solar lighting so that we know where the poles are, where the light is, and we know if it's functioning. So that's probably one part of smart cities. And connectivity is extremely important. The other one is what we've talked about previously, which is to make sure that the street lights in cities are connected.
Sure.
They are energy efficient, that the light in buildings is also energy efficient. And at the end of the day, smart city is the adequation and the connection between supply and demand, because basically what we would want in an ideal world, when there's a high demand of energy, then the cost of energy goes up and that demand has to be shaved. So we basically want to shave the peaks. So we could full well imagine that we have connected solar LED lighting, we have connected street lighting, we have connected lights in offices, in industries, and whenever the energy cost rises, the non-priority lighting loads are dimmed down to shave the energy peaks demand. And that's totally available with the technology we're providing today. So as you can see, we're contributing big time to smart cities.
Fair enough. Before I let you go, Eric, just my final two questions. No longer you're talking about lighting is not mere illumination, and we're seeing a real drastic shift between it just being about devices to actually systems and operations. So can you talk to us about that shift and what Philips Lighting is doing to actually take this opportunity to the next level?
Absolutely. So at this point in time, it's beyond illumination and it's beyond energy efficiency. We are absolutely focused to bring to our customers a new experience, to make sure that lighting contributes to improve their own business. Let me give you a few examples. So if you go in a retail environment, what happens? You bring lighting. Of course, immediately with digital light, you're going to save on your energy bill, 15 to 70%. But at the same time, the lighting in the shop will be better, it will be improved, and it will increase the revenue of the retail owner. So when the retail owner looks at his return on investment, he will look at all those different parameters, but with the right lighting, and he can change the lighting, modulate it during the day, he will be able to improve on his revenue.
Fair enough. And one final question, Eric. It'll be two parts, of course. Where are you looking at Philips India 5 years from now? What are the targets that you've set for the company as far as the Indian market is concerned? And how and what kind of a role does skills play in ensuring that you actually achieve those targets? Because Skill India is another such area of focus that we're all looking at.
My people will tell you that I've set two ambitious targets, but I'm pretty confident that they're going to meet them. India will play a major role, not only, as I've told you previously, as an important market and provider of business for the whole corporation, but also because we have major factories here, serving the world, and because we have also R&D centers that are serving the world. But also from India, we expect, and it's already the case today, to have a lot of talents working in India, but also outside of India, to provide Philips Lighting with also an Indian energy outside of the Indian territory. You know, at this point in time, in my team, in my direct team, I have 4 Indian people working with me who have developed themselves in that environment to take a global role in the corporation. So for sure, the skills that we are developing here, also helped by the fact that we are a leading company in India and that we have a very important footprint, will serve the whole corporation moving forward.
Eric, thank you so much for taking time off. Really appreciate you joining us on the interview at ET Now.
Thank you so much.
All the best for the road ahead.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ETNow and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at ETNowLive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/ETNow.